The aesthetic ideal of restraint is integral to the performance of Japanese no drama. To explain this ideal, the 15th century playwright and critic Zeami wrote the following: "If what you feel in the heart is 10, what appears should be 7. Zeami's aim was to instruct the actor to avoid self-indulgence on the stage, so that the audience may fill the emotional gap with their own depth of feeling. The actor's reticence draws the audience into the spell of the performance, making any wallop of emotion all the more forceful, because its origin becomes the audience itself. In a similar way, I am struck by the profound restraint of the speaker on the stage of Arda Collins' masterful debut collection, It is Daylight, selected by Louise Gluck for the 2008 Yale series of Younger Poets competition. This book emerges from an extraordinarily restrained voice, one which invites the reader to inhabit each poem. This kind of writing requires an exquisite ear, a pitch-perfect ear that selects each word with an uncanny precision. And at the same time, the lines are always breathing, cascading down the page. This gives a paradoxical quality to the poems, taut yet open, expansive yet lean. The figure of light in these poems recalls Dickinson's certain slant of light. But unlike the gray winter light that oppresses, it is the broad daylight which the speaker finds most troubling. For Collins, daylight both illuminates the self and threatens to eclipse the self. In the title poem of the book, the speaker telephones her own house, explaining, "I need to check on the empty situation." The speaker continues, "It was daylight, still here. My shadow looked large and unschooled. The sidewalk was yellow in the sun. I was thinking that I wasn't anyone, and that my future would be a trajectory leading further away." In the cosmic spotlight of the sun, the speaker recognizes her impending erasure. This eclipse of the self and its attendant terror is most clearly expressed in the image of the face that recurs throughout the book. In the opening poem of the collection, the speaker declares, "I try to get my mind around the sight of myself. I make a face." This poem marks the first of a series of escape attempts from the self, all of which echo Eliot when he said that poetry is not the expression of emotion or personality, but rather is an escape from emotion, an escape from personality. And of course, he added, only those who have personality and emotions know what it means to want to escape from these things. Yet Collins goes beyond Eliot's binary of self-effacement and self-indulgence, and writes also of the indulgences of effacement. Among the recurring images in the book, light, snow, the components of a meal, the speaker turns her face most often toward God. But this is God as a foil for the speaker, a mysterious presence at once transcendent and mundane. And in turn, we find a strange grace in these poems, such as at the end of Not for Chopin, where the speaker envisions a kind of peace for the reader, saying, "Listen to him describe what you would be like if you were blind, sitting in a chair, at a wake, the day short, that there might be nothing else, night, content, unable, unwishing, to recall desire or sight." Collins's poems are subtle meditations on daylight's darkening and brightening registers. They possess a Sisyphean fidelity to a voice that is muscular and true, quiet and controlled. And as we sit tonight and listen to Collins's beautiful poems, let us also remember that her poems are listening quietly to us. Please join me in welcoming Arda Collins.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. And thank you, Chica, for inviting me into the university. Am I loud enough? Am I not nearly better now? Up more now? Okay, thank you. I never thought of my poems are listening to people. Everyone's poems are. with a voice in front of you. As you're standing with the heel of your shoe on top of some neatly sliced red onion, you might think to yourself, I'm at onion, or I'm an onion today. Coming home, in the evening you might see a letter waiting there tucked just underneath the sliced onion. You would stand with the heel of your shoe just beside the slices while opening it. The letter might be from a friend filled with some news and asking, how are you at your new place? A fly might come in the window and land nearby as you read. That evening, beside the onion, you write in your journal, cloudy again. A fly came to onion earlier, no other visitors. Received letter from R. Stood for several hours, heard something fall over and scatter outside at lunchtime. Plan to stay at onion until the end of the month. You sleep on the floor and wake, disoriented and frightened, uncertain if the heaviness surrounding your sleep is onion that still permeates your fingers. Day comes to your estranged bed, the mood of the bathtub inexplicably altered, the smell of the darkened kitchen, the morning hallway, the evening chairs, alone on the couch in the daytime. You say something aloud, and it's not your own voice that carries through the living room, but a voice that comes from in front of you, and everything moves towards it. I just had the urge to do like the public radio announcement when they warn you that there's something untoward in the poem. And the only thing untoward in this poem is that someone gets hit in the face. So watch out. Spring. I was making a roast. The smell wafted from the kitchen into the living room, through the yellow curtains and into the sunlight. Bread warmed in the oven, and in my oven mitt I managed to forget that I'd ever punched someone in the face. It seemed so long ago, I might not even have done it. I went out into the yard before dark and saw last year's rake on the lawn. It was a cheap metal one that tore up the old grass. I did that for a while. I went back in the house. When I went back in the house, the roast was burned black and the bread was hard. I sat on the couch and watched it get dark. I was getting hungry, but I felt afraid of seeing the refrigerator light go on. Then I would have to turn on other lights, and then what would I do? I heard a car pass once in a while. I thought about a time on vacation when I bought a newspaper and tomatoes from a supermarket I'd never heard of. I remembered an old bathing suit I had, but I couldn't think of what happened to it. I could move away. I could get in the car right now and drive all night as soon as I had a sandwich. Turkey, tomato, mayo, Swiss, lettuce. It was exciting. I still had my shoes on. I drove to a truck stop. It was bright inside and I loved the world. I bought a sandwich and ate it from my lap while I drove. When I pulled up to my house, it was quiet. I guess I'm doing all the food poems first. I don't know why this is turning out this way. The sound of peeling a potato. Polished shoes, and the world shines in them like a heaven. Green grass on a sunny November afternoon, and the leaning tower of Pisa just in sight. A low thump close to the ground, just before dark over some hills, talking to someone in your head who bears witness to your thoughts. Lovers at a wintry lake, covered at night with snow. The car pulled up so close to the edge. Cold in black relief, small cabins in a circle. What will happen? They'll wait 500 years while they sit and listen to a potato being peeled. Not for all the blue sky will they know, not for all the summer grasses, not for the creamiest cheek that turns its lips the same forever for a lover on a train over a hillside. Am I still loud enough? Because it has to be this way. It's been a while since I've been so blah, 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 he says. Blah, blah, she says. She thinks that the universe is expanding like a giant lily. You don't know these people. They're off in a little theater. The set is a bedroom with a modest bed on which they lie. It's lit with a bedside lamp, and rhythmic night sounds come in from the dark all around. He sleeps on his back with his hands folded, demurely waiting to be exported by great forces. She wonders if somewhere there is a lake made of melted butter. Outside the dark, the sky is golden clouded, like a Bible illustration. Jesus is there. He's white, with a chestnut beard and soft brown eyes. He's wearing a white robe. His wounds are no longer bleeding. He's doing a peaceful pantomime, standing in the air, 2 feet above the ground. And you know what? He's really nice, and he has no sense of humor, or if he does, it would have to do with smiling and petting a deer, and you feel like you might like each other at first, but you wouldn't. Jesus is hovering in a green pasture, like in a storybook, the one about the country mouse and the city mouse, which had a lovely picture of the country mouse running away over the hills, the smokestacks soon small behind. He lets you run over the green hills, and you never get tired. He reaches out one arm with his palm upturned and raises it towards the pasture. He tilts his chin to the golden sky like he's singing, and taps his foot, which is bare. Jesus has long nail beds and a hairy big toe. Below, the universe is forming other universes. Jesus is doing an experiment. He needs to expand right now. They'll mainly be used for storage. Garden apartments. It was raining a little. I wondered if I were outside, if I would get wet. I was in the car. I passed a school. I didn't really know where I was. I had lived near here for a while. It was a quiet residential neighborhood, garden apartments in the back of the town. I parked near a driveway and turned the car off. They were basically ugly. It's no one's fault, though. I wondered what I would do the rest of the day. People were running their lives from here. They had a coffee table and mugs with writing on them. They had the rest of their lives. It was just like the other day. The weather was warm for the first time. I was out walking. A young couple came out of a house. She had just taken a shower, blow-dried her hair and put makeup on, and put on light-colored pants and a t-shirt. I smelled her shampoo when they passed, and I felt afraid of the day. The rest of the walk was better. It smelled like rain in the car. There was no one around. I heard my jacket when I moved. I thought how God loves this place. The grass was coming in and the crocuses. What if someone died or got fired or vomited alone in the middle of the night? The apartments were wood on the outside. They were stained red like the color of a picnic table. I was so ugly I wasn't sure I'd even be able to drive. April. It was hours before I sat down with a bowl of soup, a soup that I myself made. I could not decide which way to walk around and approach the table for the best outcome. Morning was made up of blather that sent me to the outermost limits of slurping on my fingers. Imagine trying to eat soup without a spoon, and all the time thinking about the windows upstairs in the room where I had sat working. What will become of us? Once I bought vegetables by the side of the road but that doesn't mean anything now. Now what I want now is raisins, and I can't have any unless I go to the store, but I can't because I'm writing a novel. It's about a boy librarian whose mother is very, very ill. There's something in the freezer marked vanilla. I tasted it. It was like ice cream or like whipped cream, but I became suddenly afraid that it wasn't food but poison for the garden. Now why would anyone do that? The taste of it reminded me of eating ice cream after church or at a birthday party. That the sun will rise again in the morning. Children are so beautiful and adorable. It's a shame about adorable adults that they always seem like untrustworthy alcoholics. Money. When I think of my brothers I haven't spoken to in years, I imagine a map of the United States and very hot days. The amazing cemeteries of grandparents and criminals flank the April boulevards. The sun comes up over New Jersey, something I've seen once from a car after a night of rain and wind. I liked your description of this, James. This next one, cosmic something or other. It was nice. It is daylight. It's daylight for that bus that just passed, too. I can't talk over that. It is daylight. I called my house from a payphone down the street before I went home. I needed to check on the empty situation. It was daylight, still here. My shadow looked large and unschooled. The sidewalk was yellow in the sun. I was thinking that I wasn't anyone and that my future would be a trajectory leading further away. The lilacs were out. They looked like a detail from a bucolic story or tableau where people are naked, eating picnics, grapes, kissing and drinking wine while playing musical instruments. It seems made up, but it's not. It must be based on a world, something like the one that's here while I'm walking. Many houses are abutted by hedges. I don't like this, but I wouldn't take them away. The hedges are often surrounded by beds of wood chips. The sight of them is a silent story about the dead. I was filled with yearning to sit against the side of a house between two hedges. I don't know how to pray, but I would try. I felt somber and excited about to go into my house. Some people come down the street. They're very dressed up. I can see them from my bedroom window. My house is quiet, as though it isn't mine, but was given to me by something other than myself. The dressed-up people cross the street and walk under the lilac trees. They look very nice and awful. The young woman wears a peach dress with cream-colored heels. She's with a young man wearing a dark blue suit and a turquoise shirt. How unfortunate that they have to go out in daylight and see themselves out among trees, streets, and open sounds. Walking through my house, I love the doors best. Waking up the other day, I went downstairs and banged my face into a door frame of a closet. It hurt. It was only an accident, but I ended up in tears. Now with this bump on my forehead, I'm grateful. I washed the dishes, cleaned the bathroom, vacuum. Over the course of several days, I feel satisfied that my apologies have run themselves out. I don't know when it's time to stop, but eventually I do, and I do other things. Low. It's not happiness, but something else, waiting for the light to change, a bakery. It's a lake. It emerges from darkness into the next day surrounded by pines. There's a couple. It's a living room. The upholstery is yellow and the furniture is walnut. They used to lie down on the carpet between the sofa and the coffee table after the guests had left. The cups and saucers were still. Their memories of everything that occurred took place, with the other's face as a backdrop, and sometimes the air was grainy like a movie about evening, and sometimes there was an ending in the air that looked like a scene from a different beginning, in which they are walking. It took place alongside a scene in which one of them looks up at a brown rooftop. Early in March, the ground hadn't softened. One walked in front of the other breathing. The other saw a small house as they passed and breathed. The reflections in the windows made them hear the sounds on the hill, a crow, a dog, and branches. And they bent into the hour that started just then, like bending to walk under branches. There's so much going on out there. I can't believe it. January. A night fire, and this one really burns the house down. At dawn it's still smoking, and I love it so much, like the world has happened the thing I wanted. Not like it loves me, but like, I know it says calamity, like why not for you too? And I feel so included and ordinary, like I know what real order is, and like it exchanges a look with me together as the sky gets lighter. And too far to hear, I know, a rooster crows. So far away it is gentle. I am in love. My heart sings to the trees as though they are full-leafed among the bugs and flowers in June. I am witness that the inverse of this bare white morning lives somewhere beyond the blazes, standing outside wrapped in a black and red plaid blanket. I've never had a blanket like this before. The fireman gave it to me. It's the kind of thing that seems like other people, that you might find in the trunk of someone's car or in their chalet, and that they say chalet is a maudlin lie that breaks your heart nevertheless, thinking of gingerbread houses, a hillside of yellow flowers, a grown-up Heidi making sweet love to a boy named Heinrich. It's like a blanket from a TV show about a burning house. Maybe I will run away with the fireman, what with all these new horizons. It's only minutes though, a couple of hours. A next day type feeling after I spend all day wandering around town in a blanket that looks like it came from Smokey the Bear or Smokey Stover or Paul Bunyan or Satan with a wink, that's the plaid. In no time at all, I'm coming up the street in the middle of the day, coming somewhere with a can of food and a kitchen in my heart, thinking the heart can love anything, cannot love anything. This is a word I don't say very often, but I always like saying it. Heaven. It was finished and went to heaven. Heaven is a white formica table. Not what I expected, but I'm not unsatisfied. God still isn't here. I'm not even waiting. Where would I be trying to get to? It's like I'm a person without face parts. I remember what it was like to use my eyes and the things I looked at. I think a lot of seeing the world from a car, being with the air over fields, stable and light brown when it's gray out, or invisible at night, like they could be water if you didn't know where you were, and the different temperatures from the window and wearing clothes, all converged in my irises like something rising but not moving that made the rest of me aware. This is something like that, except the rest of me isn't really part of it. I put my hands on the table and spread them like, here's all 10. There's nothing on it, on the table, so I found that out. What did you do today? I asked God. God doesn't say anything. I don't say anything else. Not wanting to say anything, I had that for a long time before, and now it's here. We stay like that for a long time, and I mean a really long time. That's one thing. God is the only one who would do that. Arctic poem. The Goldilocks theory of the universe is in play. The most important thing is not to exult. The day after it snows is reason itself. The universe is on earth, unexpurgated, soil and frost. There's an empty pine tree outside the door with a piece of snow under it. It's what you think it is. It has minuscule surface, black bits of softened wood in the road, and a space of grass next to the cement walk. It's after 7, 0, the linoleum carpet, bag of sweat socks in my mouth. It's cold this morning in the dog pile. It's still dim. The air is a thing of actual beauty. It really is. I can see it from under my teeth. The lights are low at Best Buy in the Arctic. The chandelier is still on. Mounted snow to the end, night halos, any time of day. If you take away all the light, there's a nebula in your face. I think I'm going to read 2 new ones that are not from this book, which is, why not? And I'm going to have some water. Planets. Incandescent, black body, my soul is on the floor, earring by the pillow and it's sunrise. This you want to come through. Awaken the room, air comes in the window. Ate an orange in the dark, and it was like lake air at night. This is how time goes out, one way like planets, like a summer and like a mustache. Your mind rests, not like roses in a pile, but equivalences. Airplane sound in the sky, over the lawnmower outside, not in the bedroom. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, this is a blue copper day, with a flame of a meteor behind it someplace in time, reflected on a roof. The tree shadows like a lake in the grass. It's so soft. This is a soft place. Wake in bed and it's here, feels like it, but can't go toward it, but yeah. Some things that had been molecularly joined to be covered between the people was opened apart, and now the other configuration could move, the bones behind a river condo and the floor back home. What is it you think you can feel clearly through it always, heart, ocean, universe, but today it was there, like a garden, I saw it, traveling into what makes your eyes, makes your limbs come away from you. Planets are doing what they're happening. There is no difference between anything. That has to be a choice, just as deep space, France, landscapes, and milk are. Green powder, night in the hallway, night in the yard, are filled with an act of time, totally different from night. The one place is always all the places. In space, it doubled over. But let's see, there might be something like it. In class at 3 or 6, in the last hours of light before sundown, talked about beasts in a menagerie, a castle, and another forest. Somewhere you are gone, forever, but now is this. Let's see, what else is there? The medieval people made smoked ham and hay. If they didn't sleep through the night, they got up and worked, fed the animals, talked, had sex together, and all the things. I can be in them. The person is implied. The grass is like licorice. Nothing is a replica on a planet. You slept in the car, on the road around the block, in the forest. The ocean is in the universe, but in private it's not. Did tonight I meant it the most on the palm horse. You rose me in it. On Mount Jupiter happens. Again, this is where sent back you reappear in every minute that fails. They all fail. This is the movement. Pole vault to the sunset over a palm frond. What else is born? Inaudible being, I don't know. My face feels like pines in a rainstorm. Why I can feel them, I don't know. And this one is also new. The war. This is what we have. The sky, sliced peaches on an archaeological site, the edge of your soul at your face. The war is happening, it's your face. Deep in the sky of life, the sky is the blue of life, has only ever been that. Your face is some answers. The war is on the couch, your face is the air when it breaks. Dark blue slate living room at night with candy, the great uncles and his wives, and Syrian jewelry watch at a restaurant. I wasn't at that war. So then we didn't know each other and didn't have that someday. Circus peanuts and coffee early at 10 at the bar, summer day to start work. It's like there's a dog around, 98, home, at 4, I'm hot, somebody keeps pissing in the shower. Low thunder over marble in the tree-lined distance for horses, chert under cloud pressure and mountain rocks covered in dirt, the purple storm on the mountains, gunmen in a meadow, ugly, we love, pain pictures on the heights, the lady at the door of the house had it last time and spoke through her face that this time or ever it could be yours, the meaning of all nausea. The war in the pastry place in the park. I saw my soul at the park. What is there for that? I like the walk home. I have a wall in my windows exclusively my own. It was a nest in a field full of rifles. Shrubs elongate the one idea. Ghosts turned above the ground. In the morning sun, the mountains were at the train. All the things you could wake up to, headless river, what is it you see those days of comprehension? I don't know where the war is with any one thing. I don't want to excavate like I used to. Wood tables, dusty skin, striated February, November dusk that hasn't happened yet. Sam Cooke, jacket and shoe, no pants and nothing. You have to understand. The guy at the Thai restaurant won't stop talking. Pineapple, wake up at night but probably didn't. It's dark and I'm there. I want to know and lie in the thing that would. Aren't dead and just talking a little. I wish more with the typical things. They feel like they will be mysteries forever, but it won't be because you'll be gone and you won't have another day for them to be a mystery to you. I come in this mass unknown, sorrow, diligence, to go up and walking, hands and neck and down, little kiss through the large shadow over the snow. It is something in this thing from far away, mid-street sunlight, where the dark, it's so weird, just even the air, melon, garlic, blood outside the franchise. And I'm going to read one more from here. Thanks everybody for coming. Central Park South. The coffee rings are in view on the papers and book covers. Big news in the rabbit hospital. You can see it. The bunnies are bandaged around their heads. He has a fancy office on Central Park South, on the other side of the carriage driveway, across from the plaza, 1 block from the green and stone park horizon, behind the cream and gold awning. At the Pierre, where he does your root canals from a room on the periphery. You hope he might adopt you. You won't know until the end. He discusses your nerve endings, the fate of your face, puppets of a baby pig and a baby tiger who become friends. In deep privacy, sequestered on a boat leaving for Denmark, they decide to stay and suckle from separate mothers. In your senses, is mint, petals, grass, or water? You awake in the sweet air. You are my endodontist. It's not about goats and flowers, subtle. We can do this, we do, without thinking about bodies of water or bodies of land in the vicinity of the future where you do not arrive on time or ever. He's in your teeth. This is where you're going. You trust him because he won't remember unless you ask him. He knows your mother. It was before she was born. The teeth in your mouth are the first step in a desert vacation on a poster at a retailer for outdoor grills. You turn into the street, a lampshade, a bathroom with expensive hand towels, a lobby. There's almost nothing you can't turn into. He's that good. I want it to be permanent. Well, it is, he says. Where are my molars? You say, I'm not here. I know, you say. You ask about red carnations. Why? They bring on the night. Upset internal muscles make your face distorted, forthright, inseparable from a life yoked to the mantle of state, violence, and love indistinguishable from privacy. The windows on the pews turn from rain, dusk to night. I can't see the air around my face. It's not your fault, he says. We're in the pain removal. The pyramids were getting bigger. That was the reason, you said. He stayed and finished different work crews you never met. You have a heat source in your chest, an electric space heater for office use only. It is, he said. It was. I'm snowing. I know there was nothing in sight, no edge that couldn't be flown off of, with yellow wings and a prescription ad. Meadow, no dog in the neighborhood that didn't come around in a friendly way at twilight. He ate your share of dinner and counted your socks. This was the way forward. In olden times, it was a candle in a metal candle dish, a whistled tune, a small drape, delicate smoke, dementia. Your DNA showed up on microfilm in the middle of Chinese food in the kitchen, and he threw a ball through the neighbor's window, wiped out on his bike, inhaled the night mist in a parking lot. There were several lifetimes, log cabins, maple syrup, Daniel Boone, corpuscles of new sea life, pulsing the preternatural parts of the future, the plantation, triage, appliances, horse muscles. Your parents are his parents' parents' children, and his parents are his parents' children. You can never meet. You are only four. You can't reach anything in your kitchen, and you can't read. The social worker calls the librarians. There are times it's lonely, but this is. The yarn bathing costume and the burlap discussion. Face hats are at the dry cleaners. He won't be here when you get back. He is me, being me, yelling at me that this is our last 5 minutes together. There is the airport, the sod farm, the sorghum auction, the coast, the long hot summer, the deaths to be witnessed, the preschoolers to be consoled, amputees to be rescued, the world's oldest children, mud people, the wagon wheel museum in flames, every burning spoke, a hill. You run. You are not on time at the same time on the same day in Tenochtitlan and modern Newfoundland. Your mother was a bucket and her head appeared inside with a command of nuanced gestures. Your hair caught on fire one sad colonial night inside the ruffled nightcap. We were poisoned squirrels, I know, he says, by the tree. You were born knowing the shape of his toenail. The coffee table is an homage. He tried to help you remember that is his job. A bookshelf, a boot, a lasso, a can of beans, a train, Italy, a cloud giving out, rain in a picture. You were mute. Mary Ingalls, who strove to leave the blind school, loved the presents Pa brought from Mankato for everyone and Ma, chocolate, paper, and string in his pockets. We shared our forbidden love on the banks of Plum Creek. You touched yourself in the back of the empty schoolhouse. He wasn't born yet. We'll never be born. You will never be born, you said. You went out into the parking garage, found your car, left in winter, ate blubber, cried your tears, stank in furs and skins. He was the white man. You died of bronchitis. Your mother was a cat. He bathed in the river with the other boys in the manner of the day. He was, and you asked him to be. In your face, you were hit by a taxi in the rain crossing the street when you saw him the first time. He took you to the hospital downtown. Thank you.